Sky Outdoors, powered by Town Pump, fueling your next outdoor adventure, is also brought to you by Counter Assault, your ultimate protection in the wild. Montana Army Navy, get it, get out, and live it. MACKENZIE River Pizza, the best pie in the Big Sky. Bob Ward's, everything outdoors, Montana style. Glacier Real Estate, your real estate connection to Northwest Montana. And the Outdoor Report is provided by Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Big Sky Outdoors. I'm Matt Redding, along here with Daryl Lane. It's the middle of January, and we're out ice fishing today.
That's right, Matt. We're out here on a lake in northwest Montana. Obviously, it's froze over. I brought along the sled with all of our ice fishing gear. We're going to focus on Kokanee salmon today.
Great.
And good fish to catch and smoke up and eat. And anyway, I'm looking forward to having some fun.
Yeah, let's go catch them, huh?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
This is for me, a typical Kokanee rig setup. I've got a little Swedish pimple. Today I'm using a white with a blaze orange flash on that, treble hooks on that. And then above it, about 8 inches, 10 inches, I've got just a little bead head that I'm also going to tip with a maggot. We're using maggots as kind of our bait for our ice fishing deal. So the nice thing is we brought our hummingbird fish finder with us today. The graph will show us exactly where the fish are at. So we're going to drop that down in the hole and we're going to give it a shot. Now that I'm dropped down at the depth I want to be, I'm just going to do some pretty aggressive jigging. And usually they hit it on the bounce as it hits the bottom. And once in a while I'll hold it still. It's such a light little bite a lot of times. You just barely will feel a tick when you have it sitting still. There's fish. You see how I just barely detected that rod tipping down a little bit? And there's our first fish of the day right there. That one bit on the upper fly. This right here is a Kokanee salmon. It's not a very big one. These are averaging about 6-7 inches long. Great little salmon flavor in them though. We like to catch a bunch of them and then we'll brine them and put them in the smoker and have some smoked salmon. So I've just dropped it to the bottom. The line has stopped, and to get to, and we're 50 feet, so I'll crank about 5 or 6 times, and that'll bring it right up into that 40 to 35 foot range, and I should be right in the fish there that we're looking at on the graph. And there's a fish on, and I didn't even know it. I'm jigging, and my line went slack. There we go. Some of those look like some bigger ones too. There's one right there. He slammed that one on the drop.
Big Sky Outdoors is brought to you locally by your Montana Honda dealers and by Parkside Credit Union.
Go ahead. Parkside Credit Union. We like to say yes.
Glacier Real Estate understands why you live, work, and play in Northwest Montana. Let Tim Gravel and Kenyon Matheson help you buy or sell your next piece of the Montana dream. Call Tim or Kenyon of Glacier Real Estate today.
With your on-the-go lifestyle in Montana, it's nice to have peace of mind behind the wheel. And the 2016 Accord with Honda Sensing is safer than ever. This driver assist technology reduces the potential of a collision by alerting the driver and can actively steer and brake in emergency situations.
For all your running around, the Honda Accord can be yours with 0.9 APR from your Montana Honda dealer. Honda, it's the perfect ride for Montana.
Oh, they're hitting good today. We have kokanee salmon in a lot of our mountain lakes here in northwest Montana. The nice thing about it too is it's a very liberal limit on the lake that we're fishing today. And most standard lakes, the possession limit is 20 per day that you can keep. And some of the other lakes in the neighborhood, like Kokanee, it's 50, and you can catch a lot of fish and get some fish in the freezer. A lot of the bigger fish we have in these lakes actually feed on these kokanee, so this is what's feeding the big northern pike and a lot of the lake trout and bull trout and things like that we have as well. Even a rainbow, I can imagine a big rainbow being able to eat one of these kokanee. Nice fish. That's what we want. We want these 7 and 8 inchers. Hey Matt, we're going to talk a little bit about the equipment you need for ice fishing. I've got my little box opened up over here and a variety of stuff. Now, you don't have to really go buy a bunch of different things for ice fishing. A lot of stuff that you use, standard things during the year, will work for ice fishing as well. You notice I've got a great assortment of beadhead flies and other flies that I'll use for ice fishing. Primarily though, we use these jigging spoons, and I've got a bunch of them laid out over here. These are the Swedish Primple brands, and this is just a standard spoon. I've got some with some patterns. These are what we've been using for the kokanee. They've worked really good. These big ones, if you're fishing for trout, pike, bigger fish like that, those are great for. Then when you get into the smaller ones, if you're fishing for perch and sunfish, these smaller spoons and these little glow bug hooks work really well for baiting for perch and stuff like that. So you don't have to break the bank to go out and get equipment for ice fishing. There's our man Matt. Good one. I start your pile on the left there, and we're all golden. Who bees a kokanee cat? Doubled up, that's what we were waiting on.
Today we're fishing in about 50 feet of water, and this fish finder's been really helpful today with us trying to locate and figure out exactly what depth the fish have been at. And they've been anywhere from 16 to 17 feet down all the way down to 40, 45 feet. So it seems like most of them are hanging around right around that 30, 35 foot level, but I'll tell you what, it's really helpful to have this fish finder to locate and really pin those fish down.
36 feet, there's one. You got him. Nice job, Matt. That's funny, it only showed the one fish, and you must have caught him. I build a lot of my own ice fishing rods. I'll take a regular spinning rod that broke or something, and I'll use the top half of it, and I'll bed it back into the handle with some hot glue, and make a perfect little ice fishing rod. It's just the right length. It's not too short, it's not too long. And for smaller fish like kokanee and perch, just perfect. You can even land some decent sized pike on the half of a rod. So you don't have to go out and buy a bunch of brand new equipment if you got some old gear laying around, or if you want to go to the thrift store and pick up some old rods, and you can build your own little ice fishing rod right out of that.
Army-Navy is your hunting headquarters. It's the best place around when you're serious about saving money on the things you need to go hunting. Knife sharpeners, wool gloves, backpacking meals, optics, socks, boots, insoles, stoves. Why, it's a virtual hunter's checklist. All name brands and all at fantastic savings. On Highway 2 in Evergreen and Highway 93 in Whitefish. MontanaArmyNavy.com.
Since 1953, Town Pump has proudly served our communities as Montana's best convenience store. Town Pump offers a huge selection on all your favorite products, and we're always expanding to meet your needs. Town Pump is here to serve your community, so come visit Montana's best convenience store today.
Hey, welcome back to Big Sky Outdoors. Matt and I just got off the lake. We caught a bunch of kokanee salmon. We've cleaned them up in the sink, and now I'm going to show you guys how we're going to make a brine. Our plan is to smoke these in a smoker and have some smoked salmon. So we're going to start with, that's probably just about a gallon of water here. We're going to pour that into our little container. Next, all we're going to do is we're going to add a half a cup of salt, and we're going to add a half a cup of brown sugar. And we're just going to mix that up. That seems to flavor these kokanee up really nice. So what's going to happen then, we have our brine, and then we're going to be able to take our cleaned fish once they're cleaned and just throw them right into the brine. And then they're going to soak in that at least 24 hours to get that nice flavor all the way through the fish. Okay, we're ready for our next step here. I've got kokanee salmon that have been in the brine at least 24 hours, and we brined these overnight. So we're getting ready to take these and right on outside to the smoker. I usually try to smoke about 180-degree temperature inside the smoker, and I check on them and I rotate them a little bit. Probably be about 4 hours before those things are already done. I'll use my little meat thermometer and make sure that my temperature is fine inside when they're finished. All right, we've got some of the salmon off the smoker now, and we've let them cool down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel these salmon and get the meat off of it. And I think what we're going to make today is we're going to make a salmon and cream cheese dip. It's always a great hit at the party. It's a real simple recipe. All you need is some cream cheese, your salmon, some diced chives or green onion. In this case, I used green onion because I didn't have chives. And you can add a little seasoning if you need to, but that salmon usually has enough spice in it that I don't need to add anything else. You can see how easily that skin comes right off. So I'll take my fillet and I'll just start pulling it from the top of the back, and then the chunks of salmon will just peel right off. And we got our first half done. Now we have that bone that's laying right on the inside. So I'll just separate the bone from the fillet. just like this on the second half. And there we have our smoked kokanee fillets. So I'm adding the cream cheese a little bit at a time to get the right consistency. You want it soft enough that it spreads well, but you want the salmon to be the dominant flavor, obviously. And the last thing I'm going to do is add a little Italian seasoning, basil, just a little bit of herb. The last step is just to get it in a serving bowl. I'm going to set it in the fridge so it has a chance to set up for a little bit, but I've got that mixed in there really nice. And this is going to be amazing on some nice crackers or some toast points or pita chips or whatever your favorite little finger food is. It's an awesome hors d'oeuvre for the next dinner party you have at home. Oh, that's called a quick release right there. He got out right at the hole.
Counter-Assault, the original bear deterrent, has been made, developed, and scientifically tested in Montana for nearly 30 years.
Counter-Assault is what I chose for my staff based on my personal experience, scientific testing, and it's the only one that met all the expert recommendations. Spray time and spray distance are important in a bear attack, and Counter-Assault has both. As an avid hiker, hunter, and outdoorsman, Counter-Assault is my first line of defense in bear country.
Carry what the professionals carry. Counter-Assault, Grizzly Tough Bear Spray. Look for the red can.
Glacier Real Estate understands why you live, work, and play in Northwest Montana. Let Tim Gravel and Kenyon Matheson help you buy or sell your next piece of the Montana dream. Call Tim or Kenyon of Glacier Real Estate today.
Here's this week's outdoor report by our friends at Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks.
As our objective here is about 100 bears in the Cabinet Yaak recovery area. We want to see those 100 bears, that population, connected to other populations.
For more than 30 years, bear biologist Wayne Cassworm has worked to reestablish grizzly bears in northwest Montana.
I got to Libby to start a research program here in the Cabinet Mountains in 1983. I essentially made an estimate on the population that if for the Cabinet Mountains alone, that we were probably only dealing with 15 or fewer grizzly bears.
To increase the number of grizzlies, Cassworm started a program to reduce human-caused mortality on grizzlies and began moving bears from other areas to augment the Cabinet Yaak population.
It was the first time that we have moved, again, non-problem grizzly bears from one area to another to try and bolster the population.
Through the years, this program has seen its ups and downs. But today, with an estimate of around 50 grizzly bears, Cassworm is optimistic.
I think we've seen the rate of human-caused mortality decline. We've seen some improvements in forest management. We've had several major conservation easements, and that habitat protection will at least set the stage or enable bears to live there, to move going into the future.
Through all of this program's accomplishments, Cassworm knows recovering the grizzly in the Cabinet Yaak is a slow and steady process.
We do not intend to continue augmenting this population forever. And in order to support that, we need to keep rates of human-caused mortality low and build those habitat protections so animals can freely move. And that's the basics of the whole program here.
I'm Winston Greeley, out among Montana's fish, wildlife, and parks.
Well, Matt, one of the reasons I like ice fishing, in the middle of the winter, there's not a lot to do. We love to ski up here, Whitefish, Montana. But, you know, a good cure for cabin fever is to be able to come out here on the ice. It's relaxing. It's not a lot of hard exercise or anything like that. And just to be able to spend some time outdoors and catch some unique species of fish like these Kokanee salmon. We've got some great perch fisheries. We've got pike. We've got rainbow trout. You can catch lake trout, all kinds of varieties of different fish you can catch in the winter, just like you do in the summertime. That's what we want right there, more of these little kokanee. And we have literally got the lake to ourselves, so if you like solitude, if you like being able to get away from the hustle and bustle and relax, ice fishing is a great way to do it. I actually targeted that particular fish. Saw one down at 44. Rode him right up off the bottom. This is what it's all about. Well, Matt, it's time to wind it up. We were able to catch a couple of fish, as you can see, just a little bit short of having our limit today, but for both of us. But still had a great time, and thanks for coming out and joining me.
Yeah, it was great. You know, they're not very big fish, but you know, when you catch 30 or 40 of them, go back and smoke them up, and they taste great, and they're a great fish to go after this time of year. So
sounds good. Let's go to the house and get them ready.
All right, sounds great. Hey, thanks again for joining us this week on Big Sky Outdoors. We'll see you next time.